Jimmy, what's going on, my man?
What's up, Tim? How you doing?
Not so much. Doing good, man. Doing good. Can't complain. It's a nice, beautiful day here in Columbia. So I'm enjoying myself. Where are you at right now? Are you in you're in a
I
college classroom?
yeah, I busted into a lecture room here on campus. I normally
Yeah,
come down here to do my homework, but I just kind of it's all unlocked because it's summer, so I just came down here.
that is funny, dude.
Nice plain background.
Yeah, for real. Hopefully you don't get kicked out middle of the stream. That would be pretty awkward.
I don't think I will. The janitor comes down here. He's pretty cool, so I should be good.
Okay, gotcha. Well, we got a couple people joining, so I guess it's pretty fitting that you're in a college classroom because right now you're a part time college student who's
Yeah,
selling insurance and freaking crushing it. So,
thank
yeah,
you.
man. I mean, kind of give us a background on like who you are, how you got into the industry, and then like maybe an interesting fact about yourself.
Yeah, my name's Jimmy Rustin. I'm with Real Financial with Brad Lee, Andy Elliott, and Tyler Glennon. Those guys are my guys. They've helped me a ton. I love it there. And I started. It's a bizarre story how I got licensed. I was on Twitter, and it was like it's like a remote sales thing. There was like a thread on it, and I was like, okay, what is this? And I looked into it, and I googled or I YouTubed like life insurance. This dude named Peter Roberts popped up. I don't
Yeah,
know. Most people should know him. He's a cool dude. I actually shot him a few cool like cold emails or like DMs when I was first getting into it. And he like took time out of his day to respond. He's a great guy. I watched some of his videos. It was just like really simple how he breaks it down. And he wasn't doing anything like crazy. He was just doing like normal stuff, like talking to these people, helping them out. And I was like, I can do that. And I went and got licensed. I failed the test, I think like 3 times.
really.
I went into the proctored thing, and I think it was the same guy all 3 times who like
Okay.
proctored it on Pearson. I think the
Yeah.
third time he's like, "Oh God, like this guy again." And he passed it, and then like after that, it was off to the races, and I've loved it since. Like I'd always just scrape together time to do it. My schedule doesn't allow for me to just like huddle up for too long. Like I still like do normal stuff, so I can totally relate to anyone part time. Uh,
Yeah.
I still have fun with friends, still a normal kid. Go out, have fun, do my thing.
So you found it on Twitter, got into the business, joined with Real Financial.
Hmm.
Um, what were you doing like? Because I know obviously we've been working together for a couple months. Like, how much AP were you writing prior to us hooking up and working together?
It was like 3 grand right around there. I mean, I was just like learning, like I sucked. So Real Financial has this thing, live dials. I think lots of um, places have it, and you could just
Yeah.
plug in and listen to people sell. Like even that people that were really good at the time still are. Like I would just plug in and listen. So like I'd be walking around like wherever I was when I was at work, I'd throw in an earbud and listen. Uh,
Yeah.
and I would just listen to like really good dudes get hung up on and like have trouble. So I was like, okay, well that's normal. So I mean, for the most part, like everyone submits an e-app the same way. You still need a social, you still need banking 99% of the time, or you do. Some like allow you to do it without a social, but social banking, everyone's clicking the same button. So it's really just what you say. So, I mean, it's pretty much a copycat game to some extent. So I was like, how do I emulate that? And I would just listen all day. And then I sucked at course at first, and I just slowly kind of found my way, just like anything else. There's no really like secret.
Okay. Do you know like how much premium you were doing? Like you said, was it 3K a month or?
Yeah, it was 3K a month. And that like first week,
Wow.
obviously it's just like you don't even know what you're doing.
Yeah. Of course.
Kind of
Of
like
course.
you have no clue what anything is. Like you don't even know your login sometimes. Like you like messed up.
Yeah.
So
Like
like I sold
stumbling
my
over the
first
phone,
policy.
trying to figure out what password is what. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
We've been
And
there.
I like sold my first one. And once you get that first one, it's like, okay, I can do this. And it
Yeah.
slowly just grew to like 1 a week, 2 a week, 3 a week. I don't know. I mean, it's just like with me, I'm like, okay, here's the time I have. I have like 5, 6 hours to sit down and dial, whatever it
Yeah.
is. I'm like, my thought was always like, if I rip through all these numbers and I don't get a sale, like, so be it. But at least I sat down and like tried. Like,
Yeah.
I can't control what they pick up and say. So
That's the mindset to have, dude. And so you wrote 3K your first month. What are you on pace to do right now?
so it's the 12th today, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay, yeah. So
Yeah,
I think I'm
I
at
think
like,
so, right?
yeah, it is. Let me look. Yeah, it's the 12th. I'm at like 8,400.
8,400 2 days ago, dude. The screenshot I used for the thumbnail you sent me, you were at 6K, and that was 2 days ago.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
can't keep up with you, bro. What's going on?
I love it. I like it. Like it's pretty fun. I've always
Yeah.
been like pretty personable.
Uh
Um,
huh.
my dad's in sales. My dad's in mortgages, and he's done great. And I grew up like the way it's obviously it's different. You're not cold calling people, so,
Right.
but like the way he was like friendly with people, but he was still like professional. Like I'll have you this document by Y date at X time, and we're following up on this date, like stuff like that. And you could also
Yeah.
like joke with them. So like I grew up listening to that, so I think
Mhm.
that helped. And like I knew what I didn't want to do. Like I don't want to be a doctor, lawyer. I don't want to be a teacher.
Yeah.
Like I don't like before this, I was like, I don't know what I want to do. I don't know what I'm good at. So let's just try stuff. So I
Yeah.
did that. And yeah, I mean, I think just being consistent, like you just like you have to put in the hours because if you don't make dials, it's like, or if you're doing like 100 dials a day, like I think Julian said, he's like, if you're doing 100 dials a day, like it's a hobby. It's like,
Yeah. That's true. I'm curious, how many dials a day are you doing at the moment?
so I got to get better with tracking my numbers, obviously. But I mean, I'll work normally it's like 8 a.m. to 3 or 4. And then that's just dialing consistently. Obviously, there'll be times where you have to like jump on a call with a carrier and like resolve an issue. Like that
Sure.
stuff's a blast. But
Yeah.
small stuff that gets in the way, life happens. Got to run somewhere and get something. Stuff will get in the way. It's not always the same amount of time every day.
Yeah.
I mean, when I'm dialing, I'm not like dial, scroll Instagram, dial. Like I'll get caught up. Sometimes like a buddy will call me and I'll just like hang out with him for a while. I'm like, shoot, I gotta get back to what I was doing. But
Yeah.
I mean, like if someone hangs up, I have the next person on the line in like 2 seconds. Because it doesn't matter if you have a list of people, like you shouldn't really take it to heart if someone hangs up. It doesn't matter.
That's very true. And yeah, obviously I'll second that. You definitely do have to get better about tracking your numbers, bro. That's
Oh, yeah,
like
100%.
that's the only thing separating you from like a real like 6-figure income. Like you might be making it, you might be on pace to make it, but you won't know unless you track it. But so obviously that'll improve over time. Like you'll start doing that. I have no question about it. If you were to estimate how many dials a day do you think you're doing? Like
200,
200, 300 plus,
300.
like 300 dials a day?
I like to just in my mind, I'm like, I'm gonna get because like focusing on sales is hard because there's a ton of not focusing on sales, but if it's like I want to get just as many people as I can past the intro because that's
Yeah.
the hardest part. And once I do that, I'm like, let's just get as many people past the intro as I can, and
Yeah.
then just present to as many people. And after you do that, it's like the rest will kind of fall because it's like I know if I present 4 to 5 times, I'm like getting a sale. Because you could
Yeah,
have
of
2
course.
presentations fall. Maybe you have 2 presentations go good, and then one you get to social, and they're like, "My what?" and they hang up, like
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
type
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
thing. But just I'd say about 300. Answer your question, 300 dials a day around,
Okay.
and yeah, I have to track it better, but around 300 dials a day, and just not interrupted either, like not scrolling, just like dialing. Someone hangs up, dial next one.
Yeah. And is that like 5, 6 days a week, or how consistently are you making 200, 300 a day?
Probably 5 days a week, and then on weekends it's kind of like give or take. On weekends it'll be like an hour here and there. So on like Saturdays and Sundays I'll probably do like an hour.
Yeah.
But yeah, Monday through Friday I'm pretty consistent, and I like it too. It's fun to me. It doesn't really feel like work.
It's like a game, right? Like fishing.
Yeah, it's like if you jump in live dials, and it's just a lot of those guys in there are my friends. A lot of them are like a lot of them are just like my friends, and we'll hang out, like we'll mess with each other, and you get to listen to your buddy like make money. It's kind of cool. It is
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. Yeah. So making about $300 a day, 5 days a week. That's like $1,500 a week. You're obviously putting in the volume.
Yeah.
What are you spending on leads to write 8,400? Like how much have you spent on leads this month?
This month, I think so. I have like this magical lead source. Tim knows of it. It's
Yeah.
called
Yeah. Of
Huge
course.
Lead Store.
Yeah.
It's about 86 to 500 day old leads. They're
Mhm.
recycled. They're 50 cents. I'll go in about 2, 3 times a day or 2, 3 times a week, sorry, and buy 400 at a time. It's like 200
Yep.
bucks. So you really just have to make about like one sale to break even.
Yeah.
That. And yeah, it's people that have been like rifled through, called a ton of times, and they just have never pulled the trigger. It's a ton of like tire kickers.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think Julian, I forgot the stat was, maybe Julian can throw it in the chat. Like it was like a percent of people need to hear a sale X amount of times. He knows the stat. He'll throw it in there. But that, because the one thing that does is It makes you have a ton of volume because it's like if you buy $200 worth of leads off the Age Lead store, I was like, okay, like I'll make a deal with myself. If I sit down and none of these 400 people buy, and I suck and I don't buy it, none of them buy it, I'm like, then I can be mad. But it hasn't happened because it's 400 people.
Exactly,
So
bro.
the
I
two things
love it.
happen with those. It's a ton of volume, and you are forced to get really good at objections. 60% of people need to see an offer 4 times prior to saying yes. Exactly. So I'm probably the 5th person who's presented to them, maybe like the 6th or 7th, and they keep needing to think about it. So, what was I saying? Like, it's like you don't have a choice other than to get good at objections.
Yeah.
They're going to throw a ton your way, so you get really good, and it's volume. You get volume, and it's cheap. It's $200. I'm a college kid. Like, I didn't work I don't have a big background in any workforce, so I don't have like a massive stash laying around to just throw at a ton of expensive, like high intent leads. But yeah, I just rifle through them.
So obviously you've been getting your teeth cut, just like calling through the leads. The
Yep.
volume is key, and like obviously that's 100% the deal. So you said about 2 or 3 times a week you're dropping on the 400 leads. Is that correct? So like $600 a week.
$600 a leads, $600 in leads a week. And we just started those Facebook leads.
Yep.
Facebook leads so I mix them in, right? Because during the day you just want as much volume. Like I want to get as many people to pick up as I can.
Yep.
So that's where the Age leads come in. And then probably about 3, 4, 5, 6 times a day, anywhere in there, typically in the mornings because it's the old people.
Yep.
They'll give you a call, like it might be an inbound call, and those people like are looking like it's an instant lead off Facebook. So those ones will come in, or I'll get an email on my phone of a lead that comes in off the instant ones off Facebook. So I mix them in, right? Because if you get an instant lead from Facebook off the phone, you just filled it out like 2 seconds ago.
Yep.
So it's like those are for quality because they're pretty much, if you get them to the presentation, they're a lot higher like conversion rate on the presentation than an aged one.
Sure.
An aged one could still just be a shopper. But then for volume, like I'm not just going to sit here and be like, hope a lead comes in. So that's where the aged ones come in because you can just go through them.
So you're doing a combination of both. So you have aged leads to fill up the time, and then right when the Facebook lead comes in, you're calling those, right?
Yeah.
Dude, that's exactly the way to do it. So how much, like, because obviously, so today's the 12th. You said you spend about $600 a week on age leads. So like, would you say 1,200 is a good number for that?
No, so far this month? Like probably 6. I think I spent 800 this month on age leads. I bought them today. So yeah, I mean, I'm buying. What would that be, like 400 a week ish?
Okay. What are you at with spend on Facebook?
So far, I've only spent like $250 on Facebook.
Okay, so we'll say
we're ramping it up.
Yeah, of course. $1,000, $1,050 to write 8,400 in AP.
Yeah.
And obviously, if you've called through all 800 of those age leads 15 times, then
I have.
You haven't?
I mean, I do as best as I can, but it's like it's hard to get to all of them. But a lot of them out of service or wrong number. Like if I still paid for a wrong number, I'm still gonna try and like, why not?
Dude, that's the exact same thing I would do. Like if I knocked on a door of an apartment, because people like the turnover in those places are so high. Like I've sold a 26-year-old that lived in an apartment of a lead from like 2018 that was 75 when they sent it in. Like they're people at the end of the day. Like it's the same shit. But like I love the.
You already paid for it.
Like, you said what?
You already paid for it.
Exactly. Yeah, that's
the worst thing. They're like, "This isn't me. Buy," and you're just like, "Okay."
That's definitely it, bro. But okay, so 8,400 this month, 1,050 on lead spend. You're at we'll call it an 8x, for example. Before you were writing about 3K a month. So like, what do you think? What has been the biggest difference maker for you from like writing 3K a month to writing 8,400 in 12 days? Like, what's been the biggest difference maker that's allowed you to see that success?
Reps. So like one with the reps, and then just like volume, and just picking up little things like live dials. Like I can't say it enough, but like listening to people sell or like recorded sales calls. You could go on YouTube. There's gajillions of, because it's the same thing every time. So it's like really like, what are you getting stuck on? Like for me, I'd get stuck on social or banking. Well, how do I fix that? And then I try that. Okay, it looks a little better. How do I fix it a little better? So slowly tweaking stuff and being consistent. Like there's days where it's like I'm on the phone, it's like I can't even sell like water to a fish. Like it's horrible. Then there's
Yeah.
days where it's like you call 6 leads and 5 of them are like, oh my God, yeah. And you're like, wait, this makes no sense. It just happens. That happens
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
everyone. That's like I didn't read it's so up, it's so down. But it's like the days where it sucks, you're just like consistency, like keep going. It'll just eventually and being tactical too. Like calling beneficiaries, asking for referrals. Those things are huge. Those changed up my game a lot. So tactical stuff mixed in just with like just going over what you're messing up on. It's pretty simple. I mean, it's the same. I don't know. It's just like consistency mixed with like tweaking small things. If you tweak one thing, 1 or 2 things every day, it's like you'll eventually get to the place where
1% better every day, dude.
yeah, a month ago, like, oh, I don't struggle with that anymore or as
Yeah.
much. You know what I mean?
So it's like for you, like the biggest thing is just taking action. So I mean, there could be an agent that starts where you're at a month ago, 3K in a month, and they're just not putting in the volume. Like you're shortcutting the time that you're having to learn things because of the volume you're putting in. So the same person to learn the same things that it took you, it could take them 2 years, whereas with you it took a month, just because of the amount of consistency and volume that you're actually willing to put into the business.
Yeah, like Tyler's my upline. He can tell you. Nick Robbins in Real Financial, he can tell you. Like I knew nothing, and I would just blow up their phone and text them and ask questions. And I
Yeah.
had an agent do that to me. I think last week it was just like a kid in Discord. His name's Garrett. I literally just like answer any question he had because like I like eat that up because that's literally me like a month or 2 ago. I'm like, dude,
Yeah.
I was in your exact same. I think I told this to him. I was like, I was in your exact same shoes a month or 2 ago. Here's what I would do. Do this X, Y, Z. And then he sold a policy like the next day. And it was like, just do this. This is what worked for me. I don't have like a magical answer, but
Yeah.
like, this is what worked for me. And I think it's pretty replicatable. Like nothing I did, you couldn't replicate. I
Yeah.
think at least. I don't think there's anything that you couldn't replicate about going and buying 50-cent leads off the Age Lead store and just rifling through them until you get a yes and just slowly tweaking your script or objection. There's nothing like anyone can do that.
Yeah. So I'm curious, like, since you joined the program about a month ago, what do you think has been the most valuable thing that you've gotten from working with us?
I would say like tactical sales training, mixing that in with like being strategic, like the Facebook leads. Like it does not cost a lot to set those up.
Yeah.
$40 a day. I had an inbound call. It was on 4th of July. I was just hanging out and I had an inbound call and I was like, I'll pick it up. Like I have no idea what it is. I used to be on Do Not Disturb. So
Yeah.
I just moved that
Can't
up.
do that as an insurance agent.
No, you can't. Because it could be like $1,200 and it's just gone.
Yeah.
But
No
he
call
called
penalty.
me and he was like, Facebook. I filled out a form and I was like, oh. And I just went to my computer, wrote him a policy, and then we just I went out with my friends. So it was like little stuff like that cost me that lead was probably $8, and that was a good amount of AP. So
Yeah.
like linking your phone account to like a Facebook lead is cheap to do. It's not hard. There's people within this program that help you set it up who are super cool and helpful.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, I mean, it costs like I'm still playing with kind of like house's money on the Facebook leads. I
Yeah.
spent like $200. That guy called me on 4th of July. I closed one off that. So it's like tactical stuff as well as training. Like it says advanced agent marketing, but it's still training. Like you guys have training. There's training to plug into. Guys are both very good at sales. So it's like, yeah, just plug into what you pay for. Like it's like
Yeah.
very good quality stuff.
Appreciate that, dude. That's awesome. I'm curious because part of what makes this so impressive. I know it's summer break, so you're not taking summer classes, are you?
I was taking one, and then
Okay.
I was like super confused on it, but I'm going back to school full time. So I mean, I'll be taking 15, 16 hours. I structured my classes to where they don't start till 1, so I can stop on the phones.
Yep. I love it.
But yeah, I'm still part time. I still have a job. I work at a restaurant.
Really?
Yeah, at 5. I didn't. I called not going today. But
oh my god. When are you quitting, bro? When are you quitting?
I don't know. Probably soon.
Yeah. Maybe stack up a little bit more cash because the cash flow with insurance can be kind of weird.
Yeah, it can be setback, especially if you backdate a policy. But yeah, I mean, I can totally relate. Like, I think people, like people who have kids, people who work a crummy job they don't like. Leon's comment. um, people who have stuff in their like life gets in the way. Like I still have fun with my friends. I still do stuff, but you just need to block out a time to dial.
Yeah.
And like 5, 6 hours every day, like I'm not gonna go do random stuff. Like that's my time to dial. And if you're just rifling through calls, you're not scrolling, like I said, you can make money because you're just it's volume and the more experience you get. Yeah. So I think blocking out time is huge.
Yeah.
Like
So time block. I mean, what? So because I talk to agents all the time that like maybe they have like a full time job that they're working. They have kids. They have all these other things that like come into play and distract them from and take away from the time that they have to focus on the business. What does an average day look like for you? Like, what does your schedule look like so that you can time block out to still have time to make calls?
Yeah, 100%. So I'll get up at like 6 or 7, check my email. I mean, insurance, and you have to check your email for any like nonsense as far as like commissions and like
Yeah.
that garbage. But like just busy work you have to do. So like 6 to 7, normally make a coffee, have some breakfast, and just knock out whatever busy work I have to do. Like if you make a sale, you got to put in your Excel spreadsheet. Like that's what I do just to like be organized. So it's not a mess. So you don't even know what's going on. Just
Yeah.
like busy work from 6 to 7:30ish, maybe 8, just busy work. Or maybe like I messed up something on my script, so I go back and edit it. And then from 8:30 to 9, I start on the phone. So I actually bought my Ohio license. I'm Central Time in Iowa. So I bought Ohio license so I could get that extra hour. Because if it's like 8 for me, it's 7 or 7 for me, 8 for them. Yeah, I mean, to get an extra hour because that's huge. You can make a sale in an hour. You can make a sale in 20 minutes. But like I block out that time, and then from that time to about 4:30ish, like I work at 5. So I typically at like 4, I'll go home, make so like 8 to 4, I'm dialing. Like, no, I'm not like doing random stuff. Like I'm just sitting there, and it is fun because like if you're with your friends, like on Lab Dials dialing, like you'll still crack jokes, have fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, like that's my time from 9 to let's say like 3 or 4. That's like non-negotiable. Like I'm sitting down. Yeah, I'm dialing.
Okay. So what, you're just like sitting in like a Zoom room with your homies or whatever, or what does it look like?
Yeah. So if you get someone on the phone and you're like through the script, you can unmute and you ask for feedback. So like when I first started, really like still now today, like people in the live dials are super helpful because if you're on a phone with someone and say there's like 20 other people in this Zoom and like I do something wrong and like I would just hang up the phone and be like, what should I have done? And like people would just chime in. They'd be like, I would have done this. I would have said this. I wouldn't have said this. I would have said this like this instead of saying it like how you said it. I'd be like, okay.
Yeah.
And then I'd mute and I'd just do it again. So I just mess up really as many times as I could and just ask for feedback. Like I said, like I blow up my upline's phone number. Like other people who are doing better than me, I'm always just asking them for help. Because it's like people like that. I know I like it. If a kid is like asking me what to do,
Yeah.
advice, like you see yourself in that person. You know what I mean?
A month ago.
Asking questions. Yeah, asking questions.
Yeah, that's wild. Yeah, dude, I love that. I think I've consistently heard that like the live dial Zoom room has been like a massive value add to a lot of agents. I've heard that a couple different times. So for anyone that's watching this, right, like they're seeing all the success that you're having, not only like the success, like how large the success is, but how quick it's come from 3K in 1 month to 8,400 in 12 days. You're on pace to write over 20K this month. You'll probably hit maybe even 30. We'll see where it goes. What are like, if you could give someone 3 tips, what would they be for them to see success at such a young age and at such like an early time in the business?
So I would say ask for help. 1, like reach out to whoever your upline is. Blow up your upline's phone. If he doesn't like that, you probably have a crummy upline. 2, leads. There is no magical lead source. They only work if you do. That's a big thing. Like new agents will get on. They'll be like, they had 2 out of service numbers, and then 3 people hung up on them. Like they're broken. Like these leads are broke. It's like no. So leads don't. So my advice would be like ask for help. 1, And another one I'd say would be like my second one would be like find like kind of like a running buddy, like a buddy that is on the same level as you, writing the same AP as you.
Yeah.
Just like ask him advice and be his buddy. Like I have a dude, his name's Ray. He's in Rio Financial too. And like we both started the exact same time, got our license the same time. And we just call each other. We'd be like, what do you do with this? Like literally, like we're like, how do you present? How do you do this? And you're like, I think I heard someone say it like this. Cause that way it's like someone to hold you accountable. And so it's kind of like it's a running buddy. So like find people who are writing the same AP as you, find people who are writing more, ask the people who are writing more what they're doing, because they're obviously doing something that you're not. And then consistent activity. Like it just makes sense. Like I grew up, I wrestled, and the dudes that were like in the gym every day, like going to practice, were the ones that were the best. It wasn't rarely was it ever the dudes who were there like 2-3 times casually. Like it was like just be consistent. Like 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. is like I'm on the phones then. Like that's not negotiable. Like that's what I'm gonna be. Like so be it. Like so just activity, ask for help, reach out for help, and find someone who's like writing the same AP as you and just hold each other accountable. I think it's fun because now you got like a buddy. And with this stuff, it's like, yeah, you may be like business partners, but it ends up being like your friend group. So it's fun.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah. When we were doing face-to-face, we had like, it was like 5 or 6 guys. Julian, you'll have to correct me if I'm missing some. I think it was 5 or 6 guys. And like, we were all like around the same age. I called it our insurance fraternity because none of us went to college. It was like our insurance frat.
Yeah.
We would just all like, hit each other up whenever we made a sale, call each other on the way to a house. Like we didn't have a Zoom room. It was like, yo, dude, you won't believe what just happened at this last door. Like blah, blah, blah. I got a gun in their face. Like just crazy, crazy shit. But like that camaraderie, I think, is so important because like if you don't have that, the business can get so lonely. And so I love the Zoom room idea. Like we're probably gonna have to steal that and implement that in some way because I've consistently heard that, and it keeps you from getting as bored and as lonely as it can be sometimes, especially with telesales.
Yeah, because if you're just in a room by yourself getting hung up on,
that's pretty dark.
It's happening to me. No one else is getting hung up on. And then you go on YouTube and you listen to some sales call. It's like, look, he made one call. It's like, no.
Yeah, I made one call.
No one else is getting hung up on. Like the dude that's writing the most AP in your IMO is getting like, we'll get to social, and they'll be like, hell no, and just hang up the phone.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Well, let's for the last few minutes of the call. I know you're a busy guy. You got calls to make. You got friends to hang out with. I'm gonna open up the floor to people watching. What are the questions that you guys have for Jimmy? Feel free to drop them in the chat, and we'll kind of just rifle through them Q&A style. So, what questions do you guys have? 21-year-old part-time college student, still working at a restaurant. Are you still in first place, or is someone else like?
I am still there.
You're still in first place.
Yeah, I mean, I like the leaderboard. It's fun. I honestly like when everyone on the top 5 is like within like $500 for each other because then it makes it fun.
Yeah, it's competitive.
Trading places with each other.
Yeah,
I think it's cool. It's not so much about like, oh, I'm in first.
Hey, dude, it's if you're not in first, you're last. So I would hold on to that spot as long as you can. But yeah, guys, drop any questions that you have in the comments down below. What do you guys want to know from the guy in his second month, the top of his leaderboards at his IMO? Like that's pretty insane. While working part-time. It's pretty crazy. All right. I got one from Marcos Bribieska. If I butchered your name, I apologize. He says, what insurance do y'all do? So like what type of product do you sell?
So I only sell final expense. That's the only thing I sell. Occasionally I'll write a beneficiary a term policy because they're younger. Yeah. But I don't even know what an IUL is. I just sell final expense and I try and sell it the best I can because then it's like you're an expert at it because like people bounce around and try and sell all 3. And I don't like because it's like if you're an expert at it, then like people are gonna ask you questions within a like sales call, and if you're like, man, I don't know, they're gonna be like, what?
Yeah.
But yeah, I just sell final expense. It's the only thing I do.
Only final expense. Yeah,
usually a term. I think I've written one term.
One term policy.
Yeah.
That's a good thing to do on like beneficiaries. I think IULs are good if like that's the main thing that you're selling. But I'm not a huge fan of like leading with IULs, to be honest. especially for newer agents. I think final expense is like the best thing to get started on. There's such a need for it. There's such a demand. And like it's so simple and so easy to explain. Once you kind of like the hardest thing to learn is the underwriting, but once you get that, it's just like it's copy and paste every time. It's just about the
Yeah,
people.
it's a easy pitch because it's like this is never going to expire on you. It's never going to go up. It's never going to go down. It's a level premium. So that's
Yep.
super easy for someone to wrap their head around. It's
Yeah.
extremely straightforward.
Jay says, did you run your own ads, picture or video?
We've tried both. Like picture works great. Video, I don't personally have any experience with video. I'm sure video it works great as well. But if you have a good like headline and like text, like you're gonna get clicks or engagement. But we can only control so much with an ad, but like that's what you guys help with. So it's great. But to answer your question, both. I've tried both. Right now I'm having success with pictures.
Yeah, it really depends on the account. Like sometimes we'll launch it and the videos do best. Sometimes we'll launch it and pictures do best. It's really just, it's kind of like 50-50. This guy says, Marco says the money is in MECS. Honestly, I don't even know what that is. IUL and annuities, brother. This is, so I'll kind of touch on this. Like you're right and you're wrong. The money is whatever you focus on. So like you can make easily multiple six figures selling final expense. You can make multiple six figures selling IULs. You make multiple six figures selling annuities. I don't know what MECS is, but you probably could make multiple six figures selling that, whatever it is. But
you can make six figures going door to door selling knives if you really wanted to, probably.
Dude, exactly. Like the problem is people fall into this trap where they're like, oh, well, the first 15 leads I called hung up on me, so there's no money in final expense. I'm gonna go learn annuities.
They're too poor.
You said what?
They don't have any money.
Yeah, they don't have any money. They're too broke. They're too old. Like that's the problem that people run into. But like, you can make money doing anything. It just like you just got to get over the whole like, oh, there's an easier way, because at the end of the day, there's not. There's just easier aspects of one thing versus the other. Terry says, "What IMO are you with?"
Real Financial.
Real Financial. That's a subsidiary of FFL.
Yes, sir. Yeah. So Bradley, Andy Elliott, and Tyler Glennon, they've helped me out a ton. I love it there. It's super helpful. There's like training videos to help you. Like it's super like straight. There's a whole video on how to get contracted. They walk you through it. Like to someone like me, I didn't even really like know the difference between whole life and term like 3-4 months ago.
Yeah.
So it's very straightforward and it helped me a lot. Like it's kind of like the ABCs. And then after that, it's like what you put in, you get out. And I love it. Everyone's super supportive. Like before I was even licensed, I would plug into Live Dials and just listen. I would just listen and ask questions and people would help me. So I love it there.
That's awesome. What do you pay per lead? How much do you pay for leads?
On Facebook?
I think that's what the question is.
So on
50
Facebook,
cents and then whatever your Facebook cost is.
So my Facebook is the cost per lead is like $7, $6 right now, but they're instant. So they're obviously way higher quality. And then the aged leads are 50 cents. So yeah, but you buy a 50-cent lead like the other day. I sold the wife and then the husband called the husband to explain the claims process and then sold him. So it's like you can turn 50 cents into however much money that can be.
100%.
So,
awesome. Yeah. Well, I'm gonna cut it off here, dude. I know you got stuff to do, so we'll cut it here. Appreciate you hopping on, bro. We really appreciate you sharing your time with us and answering questions. Hopefully you don't get too big time for us in the next few months here. Maybe we can do another one of these at the end of the month.
I'm game.
Awesome. Next thing we know, bro, I'm gonna blink and you're gonna be a freaking 7-figure producer. I'm gonna be trying to get in your Instagram DMs or something.
Oh no. Thank you, Tim.
Yeah, absolutely, brother. Appreciate you hopping on. Thank you guys so much for hopping on. We'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.
Yeah.